Welcome back to Paul's Cinema Picks of the Week. Yes. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy 2023. The reason I say that is because we hadn't been on since last year due to a few illnesses and family things to work out. But now everything seems to be kosher, so now we're back on track. So with a new year, and hopefully this year I can think up some very unique themes for our show. You know, some of them might even have where I don't bring some films and I just talk about certain aspects of the cinema world itself. But in the meantime, let's get to today's show, which is horror movie triple packs, like DVDs. I have these different DVD packs, and they have about 3 or 4 different films on them. So, yeah, I brought a couple here that I'm going to talk about today, and it shouldn't take too long, but it's certainly something you like if you're in the store and you're looking for movies, but you want to find all of them, but you can't really get all of them because it takes so much time doing it separately. So you get these triple packs that are in the stores, and then you get it all at once, so that way you have all 4 movies, like say in a 4-pack, like 4 DVDs, or you get 3 DVDs, or even 2 movies on one DVD and then 2 movies on another, so it's like a 2-pack. So, let's get started with the movies here, shall we? Okay, our first movie here is the I Know What You Did Last Summer triple pack. Let's see if my sister's getting it there.
I got the sun biting on it.
A little bright there? Okay. So anyway, yeah, this I Know What You Did Last Summer triple pack. It's a trilogy. You get all 3 films in the series on the in the same package. You get like I'll open it up here. Careful. There's like the first movie there, and then there's the second movie, and the third movie. You get that, okay, sis?
Yep.
Yep. And you get all 3 movies in your one package for one price. And like I said, the I Know You Did Last Summer, that's the first one, where the teenagers, they accidentally hit somebody and then they have to keep it secret. And keeping the secret's not always easy, because then there's a murderer with a hook that's after them called The Fisherman. And he's after these teenagers. And it's the movie that really brought Jennifer Love Hewitt to prominence. And I believe Freddie Prinze Jr. was in that one too, and Sarah Michelle Gellar. But yeah, it was a popular enough movie for the time that it came out. And I remember seeing that first at Lloyd Gray TV. Now there's a name that goes way back. Lloyd Gray. I used to go over there and rent movies, and I got it from there. Then they have I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, which follows the same group of teenagers in a sequel. And I think it takes place about a year or 2 after the first film. And again, they have somebody that's after them. And it seems to be the recurring pattern through a lot of those films that they have this fisherman hook-type killer that's after them, and it just basically follows up on what happened from the first film and then transcends into the second film. And then you have the third film, which is sort of the same type of movie. And in this one, it's like a high school prank that goes wrong. But more or less, it also involves a group of teenagers and the same type of story where a killer is after them. And unlike the other 2 movies, this one was actually direct-to-DVD. It did not play in theaters. So, yeah, it's a cash-in on the first 2 films. You know, sort of continuing without actually continuing with the same group of kids, because it's a different group in this one. But all the same, it's a type of movie. If you like these movies and you don't have the patience to get them all separately due to the taking time, what you do is just get a set like this, and it has all 3 of them together. Yeah, I'll even show you the back there really quick. My sister's got that.
I kind of got it, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's how the light shining from the room?
Well, so yeah, there's 3 in the back. There's all 3 pictures of the films there. So that's one I would definitely pick up there. Then you come to a very unique one, the Final Destination movies. And this one is a 5-film collection. Yeah, you got 5 films on this one, and it's like 5 DVDs. They're all piled on. I don't really like that particular format, how they do that. I like it when it has them all separate instead of piled up, because that way you're not risking them getting scratched. But anyway, in the 5 collection, you got the original Final Destination, then you got Final Destination Part 2, then you got Final Destination 3, which is my favorite because it took place on a roller coaster. Final Destination 4 is the racetrack. And then Part 5 is a group of kids going on a school field trip, and then something happens on a bridge.
What one has the scene with the truck on the highway with all the trees in the back?
Well, the tree in the back, and then all the logs coming off the truck?
Yeah.
That's Part 2.
Okay, thank you.
That is
for
Part 2.
verifying that for me.
Yeah. Final Destination 2. It's a little hard to find. You might find it at the where's it? Value Village.
I could probably get it on Amazon.
You can get it on Amazon. Yeah, eventually I want to get something on Amazon too. But anyway, getting back to the movies, yes. Final Destination is more or less where something happens to a particular member of the group, and somehow, through unforeseen circumstances, they avoid death. So after avoiding death, what happens is that death comes after them one by one, and they all meet, the ones meet gruesome death. That's more or less the same. They're doing a Part 6, by the way. They are doing a Part 6. But what I like is how 5, I'm not going to say what happened, but the way it was structured when they filmed it, it ties into Part 1. It's like, just think of a loop. There you go. That's all I need to say about it. Just think of a time loop. And, each one has an elaborate death, and some of them can be quite gory. But these movies I found to be a lot of fun. And they can be creepy at the same time, because then it makes you think, wonder if this could really happen. And the answer is yeah. In some cases, some of the things that happen actually can happen in real life as well. So it pays to be careful, more or less. But yes, Final Destination films, I wanted to get it all in 5 altogether, so that's how I got this, and pretty proud of it. Then, for our next triple feature 3 DVD set, you have The Grudge. Now, The Grudge was remade from a Japanese series called Ju-On. Sorry there. Yeah, Ju-On. And it deals with a haunted house in Japan, and then the different ghosts that inhabit it. And it's like the Japanese type ghost story. These ones here are the Americanized remakes. But it's more or less the same thing. I'll read a little bit of the back here. An ancient supernatural spirit wreaks murderous vengeance on anyone coming within its powerful grip of rage. This terrifying tale of horror. So yes, The Grudge. I think the main driving force of the ghost is rage. So it's like rage and revenge. So they go into a lot of Japanese folklore there for this one. The Grudge 2, they decided to do a sequel to the first one. More or less, again, it's somebody having to deal with the ghost, and the ghost's motivation, again, being revenge or rage. And then the third one here, The Grudge 3, was a direct-to-DVD sequel, more or less. And it says, continues killing of a Chicago apartment building. So it takes place in Chicago instead of Japan for the third one, but more or less the same type of Japanese ghost coming after the person and wanting revenge and being enraged, which seems to be in a lot of Japanese folklore when it comes to supernatural. You know, the ghost usually is a murderous person coming back to get even, or a murdered person, more or less, to come back and get even with the person that had killed them or wronged them in some way. So they used that type of folklore to actually tell this story, like starting with Ju-On, and they had different ones in the Ju-On series, and then they did The Grudge for this one here. And finally, my final one for the day is the 4 film favorites of Hammer Films' Dracula, starring the great Christopher Lee. And I think they picked two of his best and two of his worst in this one. You got Horror Dracula, which was made in 1958, and it's the first movie that Christopher Lee did with Peter Cushing, and tells Dracula's coming to London, and the way Lee did it, unlike Lugosi, who was great. Lugosi was great, don't get me wrong. But by 1958, audiences wanted a more sophisticated take on the Dracula lore, so they got Christopher Lee, who did not turn into a bat, because they said he was scary enough as it was. And if you see the film, you know what I mean. He was very frightening, but very well acted too. Then you have Dracula Has Risen from the Grave, which is the part 2 sequel to the Horror of Dracula. Lee had not been Dracula for a while, but had decided to eventually return to the role. So when they made Dracula Risen from the Grave, then they got Christopher Lee, who was originally supposed to be in Brides of Dracula, which was a movie made around 1960, but Lee still didn't want to do the part yet because he was worried about the typecasting thing. So they had David Peel play the part of Baron Meinster for that one, who was sort of a Dracula type character. And then they had Dracula come back in Dracula's Risen from the Grave. Taste the Blood of Dracula is a very unique film in that Dracula's hardly in it. Yeah, believe it or not, it's a movie about Dracula, but it's more or less about the blood of Dracula and people being influenced by Dracula's blood for some reason, so they just wrote that into the subplot. And yeah, but he was hardly in it. Like, Lee comes in halfway through the film. He does finally come in halfway through the film. And yeah, it was the different these men who were visiting this cult, this vampiric cult, were being killed one by one by one by one. And then Dracula finally makes his appearance. And then here you have Dracula AD 1972, which takes Dracula away from the 1800s or 1800s and then puts him into the 1970s, into a 1970s London setting. So you get hippies, you get rockers, people doing rock music and stuff, and then you got Count Dracula right in the middle of all of it at the same time. But by then the Hammer Dracula series was waning, and they had at least 2 more to go. They had, after this, they had Count Dracula and His Vampire Bride, a.k.a. The Satanic Rites of Dracula. And then finally they had the Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, or The Seven Brothers and Their One Sister Meet Dracula. Try saying that numerous times. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they did that. But you get like I said, you get 2 of the best. The Horror of Dracula and Dracula's Risen from the Grave, and you get Taste the Blood of Dracula and Dracula AD 1972. In 2009, I actually got to meet Christopher Lee himself in London, and I actually told him that he was my favorite Dracula, and about the different films. He said, well, that was a lot of people's favorite Dracula. But he was actually very tall man, very nice, gentlemanly, and walked with a walking stick. But he was also Count Dooku in the Star Wars prequels, like the Attack of the Clones and the Revenge of the Sith. He was in that. And I'll always remember him as Count Dracula, as these are four of my favorites. I actually liked having them all together, so I'm able to watch the 4 of them and compare them, see which one's good, which one's bad. But I think I pretty well explained that. So there you go. There's 4 movies that I got that are 3-pack and then 4-pack. And if you ever want, like I say, you ever want to look for movies but you don't have the patience to look for them separately, try getting the 4-packs and you'll have them all together. But for now, this is Paul Westbrook, reminding you to like and subscribe to the channel, and reminding you to leave some comments. We need some comments, so the comment section is just below this video here that you're watching. So look for it there. Write a comment or 2 telling us what you liked, and hopefully what you didn't. Hopefully not so much what you didn't like, but what you did like, because we try to make the show a little exciting. And once again, I'll be seeing you at the movies. So long for now. Happy New Year.